All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome and thank you for attending our webinar today. My name is Ashley Limbers and I'm the marketing lead at Encompass Solutions. At Encompass, we specialize in ERP consulting and implementation to help manufacturers solve challenges, streamline their operations, and drive growth. And as a premier partner of Epicor, we deliver tailored ERP solutions that empower businesses to succeed. We are headquartered in North Carolina and have been in business for over 24 years with just over 40 staff members around the globe. And our focus is on manufacturing and distribution, primarily using Epicor software. And one characteristic that makes Encompass Solutions stand out is that we are very partner focused. We have almost 20 years of experience selling Epicor software while being part of the Premier Partner Program. We do have a certified team of consultants that partners with businesses like yours to help with ERP implementations, software enhancements, customizations, and reporting. And today we are exploring elevating your Epicor ERP reporting with our partner Delata Consultants. Just a few things before we get started. Today's webinar is being recorded and a copy of the recording will be emailed to you. And if you have any questions during the presentation, please type them into the question box and using the control panel, and we'll bring them up during our Q&A session at the end. And then we also encourage you to take the survey after today's event. Our first speaker, Renee Millette, is the principal owner and has been with Delata for over 10 years. And also from Delata, our next speaker, Jesus Perez, is the development manager and has been with the company for over 8 years. So now, without further ado, we'll go ahead and turn the time over to Renee.
Thank you, Ashley. Good morning or good afternoon to everyone, depending on where you're located. As Ashley said, my name is Renee Millette. I'm president owner of Delata Consultants. As a brief introduction, we at Delata Consultants are a boutique firm specializing in Epicor Dynamics 365 consulting services to partners and end users organizations in Canada, United States, and in Europe. In addition to EnForm, which is the subject of this presentation, we provide consulting services to Encompass Solutions in support of their client base as part of a strategic agreement between our two companies. So welcome to this EnForm webinar. EnForm is a collaborative initiative, as I said, between ourselves and Encompass Solutions. The objective of this initiative was to design and develop a core group of Epicor reports in what we believe is a more user-friendly format for consumers of these reports. We have defined 2 sets of 4 Epicor reports each. More details on that later. We will take questions upon concluding this presentation. We can't respond to your questions today. We'll circle back and provide an answer to you following the webinar. Okay, as an overview of this presentation, we have an introduction. We'll have the report overview discussion briefly. Comparison, then the core of this presentation between the Epicor and the EnForm formats of these reports. And then we'll discuss the proposed report bundles that are offered within the EnForm offering. Report bundle purchase information will also be provided along with terms and conditions, as well as a Q&A section at the end. So essentially, the driving elements of this initiative are in terms of what we can do to improve the existing reports. What we found is that we were able to focus on a number of elements. The first one being optimizing the report space to provide a better view of its information to the reader, reorganizing and grouping fields that are logically grouped in certain parts of the page, highlighting fields and areas of lines with darkened backgrounds to make them stand out and get the reader's attention more quickly. And when deemed useful or necessary, we defined a comments box that can provide additional relevant information within that report. As I said, we'll propose some bundles from out of the box and single solutions as well, but we'll discuss that a little bit later on. Okay. Next one is we have some poll questions for you that essentially motivated the decision to undertake this effort. And we basically are asking people to say whether or not they find Epicor reports in their current state difficult to read, and is the information that you're looking for as a reader, as a user of this information, not easily locatable or identifiable in the document. So the poll questions answers are, there's three choices: quite difficult, moderately difficult, or not difficult at all. So this is essentially a question that will provide us for an insight in terms of the market as it appears in terms of evaluation of these existing reports. We hope that this information will provide companies and organizations to decide whether or not they want to purchase this particular product, to aid their users in making and communicating the information internally or externally more straightforward. Okay, next one.
Hey, Renee.
Yep.
Yeah, it looks like I'll go ahead and we have the poll results. And so 67% of those on the webinar found that Epicor reports are difficult to read, and then 33% said that they're not very difficult to read. And then the second poll question is the information you're looking for not readily identifiable in the document, and 60, again, the same numbers, 67% of attendees said that it's okay. So 67% said that it is hard to find information within the documents. And then 33% again said that it's not as challenging. So those were the results of our poll. Okay,
very good. Yes, that's news that is obviously going to make an EnForm offering of interest to a number of parties. We'll see what happens. So basically, resuming what I just said earlier on the previous slide, the ease of use of the installation will simply appear as a new option in the report style field for printing that report. So access to this version will be quite straightforward for users. We've tried to make, as I said, a crisper appearance in relocating elements, highlighting the right pieces of information, and using a more modern style that's pleasing to the eye, we hope, and easier to read for users. And clearly, we want to ensure that presentation makes certainly a lot of aspects of the old reports redundant, because we want to ensure that people can get the information they want by reviewing a report without having to dig too deeply into its details. So overview. Okay, I'm sorry about this. Very sensitive mouse. Okay. Continue our overview. We want to list the 8 reports that are proposed for interested organizations. We have the sales order acknowledgement, packing slip, invoice, purchase order, statement of account, aged receivables, quote, and the job traveler. As mentioned previously, our objective is for users of these reports to find and extract the information more easily in these reports and in a more readable layout. The following slides will highlight for each report type the differences between the 2 versions and the advantages of the EnForm version of these reports. So here we have a slide where we put the 2 versions side by side for a little bit of an easier comparison. And what we have here is sales order acknowledgement. The first element that we see is that the report title is a little bit more discreet and in a box at the top, which is obviously a little bit, more difficult to read. We can gradually go down the slide and see that the two blocks, which are the sold to and shipped to blocks, are quite large, and they have a fair amount of white space that takes up a sizable part of the page. The order details are listed in the text box below, pointed with the arrow, with uneven margins from one line to the next. Below that is the ordered item details on one line that seems to be extending below or beyond the edge of the page and makes it a little bit more difficult as it's kind of almost folded over. We have the we have the duplication of some of the information in the text box, such as need, by date, and quantity. So I'm not sure why that was duplicated, but that's how it seems to appear. Finally, at the bottom of the page, we have a breakdown of each of the elements in terms of the total, the tax, and the total quantity. So that's how this report is laid out in the Epicor version. Now, if we move over to the right, the EnForm version, you'll notice the difference in the overall layout of the information. Distinct blocks have been created in each section with their tabular form, with bolded typefaces and shaded table headers. At the top of the page, you'll see that the report type is more cleanly and distinctly shown with a larger font and a bold version of that font. The clearly defined tabular version below it, in terms of the sold to and the shipped to sections, provides a little bit more of a succinct area of the page, and that provides more space for the remaining information to be displayed on the page. Both of those sold to, shipped to titles are capitalized, so the location is more straightforward. The address information is more concisely displayed under these highlighted bars. To the right of these two blocks are three tables, each providing specific details about the order number and the date, shipping details, and payment details. In this format, all the details that are spread over the text box of the standard version below the sold to and shipped to areas of the report are now consolidated in this tabular format for easier reading. Below this section, we have defined a comments box, that slightly gray shaded area. This box can be used to add relevant specific information on the order. In this example, we've decided just to put the tax percentages as indicated that are consolidated down below at the bottom right of the page. So in this comments page, we have quite a number of taxes here, but at least they can be quickly summarized in the bottom part of the page down here. Below the comments box, we have the detailed information of the order integrated into a tabular format, again with the relevant highlighted details of the headers, and details such as part number, description, revision number, order quantity, and etc. are located in this box. This information, such as revision number, can also be included in the miscellaneous column if relevant. The final box at the bottom summarizes the financial terms of the order, including any relevant taxes. And notice that we've decided to put all page numbers and total number of pages in the report at the bottom right, instead of at the top right of the Epicor version. Next, we have the packing slip. So reviewing the standard version here, we have a similar layout of the large boxes that are shipped to and sold to information at the top of the report. And we have a duplicate number beneath it, which is kind of a different scenario. I don't know why the data appears twice, but that seems to be the case. Below the choice, the packing slip number and the, sorry, I'll just get back here to my line. Okay. The purchase order detail information table that wraps around the page is also a bit of a difficult situation to read. This means that the reader somehow has to line up the data with the table headers. Again, duplicate information is dispersed in this section, such as part number and quantity ordered. So this basically is making it a bit of a challenge to extract the specific information for the reader. In the EnForm version, again, we have the larger typeface of the report type at the top right for easier identification. And below this, we have the general layout format as in the previous report with slight differences on the left side. You notice that the ship to, sold to sections are reversed as compared to the sales order acknowledgement report. The reason for this reflects the purpose of the packing slip report, with the key element being the shipping destination, followed by the sold to information. To the right of this section is this table with the reference packing slip number, shipping date, and they're highlighted to better stand out to the reader. Beneath that are the shipping details, FOB information, if it's relevant to the shipping, ship via, and tracking number. So this is all information that's logically grouped in this corner in tables that makes it easier for the reader to access it and to identify its relevance and communicate any resulting conclusions from that. The table at the bottom is down here, which is the item description table, provides all necessary items such as line number, quantity of items ordered, their part number, the description and attribute set, and the order information consolidated on the right side of that table. So that includes order number, release number, PO number, and the sales representative's name. So in this case, we've consolidated some information in one section of that particular table. At the bottom, page number and total number of pages as per our adopted standard. We go to the invoice next. The invoice report, again, has the invoice number that appears on the top there, as we can see with the arrow. We have the sold to and shipped to sections as well that use up a fair amount of page and are not highlighted. There's a large gap between the addresses and the contact information for some reason, which is the fax and email information in this case. Below this, there's a table of a certain number of information bits, which are PO number, payment terms, FOB, sales rep number, is laid out in what appears to be a bit of a random fashion. They're not properly lined up for some reason, so it makes it a little bit harder to read. And sorry, then we go into the underneath this area, there's the aligned item area with information and the PO number again appearing at the bottom of that item here. So right here. And then we have, for some reason, a payment schedule here on the left at the bottom. And then finally, we have all of this tax information, different billing elements that is included as part of the totals for that particular invoice. In the EnForm version, as usual, the larger bold typeface of the report is at the top right of the page. Below it, The report follows the same general layout as the other forms, sold to and shipped to information displayed on the left. The addresses are more vertically spaced to enhance clarity. So we want to make sure that that area does not take too much space in the overall page of the report. And the invoice order, shipping, and payment details are all consolidated again in the same kind of form with tables on the right-hand side with the proper highlighted definition of the information inside those boxes. There are a few clarifying descriptors in relation to this version. The invoice number now, the invoice date, PO number, renamed here customer PO number for clarity. The payment due date, located separately in the standard version, is integrated into this invoice table, top right. And left of this situation, this table is a comments box, again, for the user to put relevant information that might be necessary or useful in this particular invoice. As an example, it could be used to insert all tax percentages of the detailed list at the bottom of the standard version. Here we have different elements of taxation that could be simply integrated in this comments box. Below the comments box, we have a product information table, the detailed information that is being invoiced, the quantity of units, the part number, description, miscellaneous, unit price, and external price. So this is all consolidated in this one line. And below that at the bottom, we have a table consisting of the total, miscellaneous charges, and any relevant tax amounts. Note that the detailed entries in the standard format, such as less advanced billing, total tax, reverse charge, etc., are not displayed in the EnForm version. Their respective amounts can be, as mentioned earlier, inserted into the comments box to provide more details in arriving at the total amount indicated here. We move on to the purchase order now. Again, we have the two large blocks of text, two boxes that take up a lot of space without providing a whole lot of information. There's not enough really information here to justify their size. And there is below that particular table is a line of different types of information, shipping, order date, payment terms. That's not really well aligned in any case. So that doesn't help also in terms of readability. On the item details below, we have the part number, revision number, description header, etc., with no separation aiding in identifying each field. So there seems to be a little bit of a situation here where some lining up could be definitely enhancing the readability of this particular page, this particular section. So we have some challenges there as well. At the bottom of that page, we have the remaining information, which is all the part number, description, and so forth, along with some tax information, quantity, due date, etc. In the EnForm version, again, the typical report type title is easily identified on the right, bolder typeface, etc. The top of the form follows, again, the same general layout as the other forms, but with different headers this time, one being the vendor and the ship to information displayed on the top left. The addresses are vertically spaced, again, to enhance readability and maximize the space that we have available up there. On the right side of that area is the key information regarding purchase order. Vendor ID, buyer, shipping, and payment details are all displayed and consolidated in these tables with the usual highlighting effects. So again, we try to group all relevant information that's logically linked in one area. Below that area, we have a comments box again, so that we can add relevant additional information to the purchase order, and including the vendor ID and buyer name. Sorry, I'm in the wrong area. In this case, the prepaid freight number and the resale number are left in comments as to the user information that could be useful for this particular document, this particular report. And below the comments box is a product information table. The additional information, the table, which is the quantity of the information of the numbers of units, the quantity of units being ordered, the part number, a description, miscellaneous information, unit price, and external price again. So all of this is then in a lined column defined format, below which at the bottom right, there's a table which provides the order total, miscellaneous charges, relevant tax amounts, with the total all-in price at the bottom. So that's it for purchase order. We go to the customer statement. Again, report title, not super evident. We want to ensure that it's a bit more visible, as you know, in the EnForm version. So at the top, we have the customer's information, and we have the customer's information, and then with the contact information, typically with fax number and email number or whatever other contact information there might be. And for some reason, up here, there's the name of the company that appears to the left, not really well defined or indicated in its purpose. In the transaction table below, we have a number of transactions that are listed with a set of charges and credits. There's no vertical lines separating each table header to aid the reader in identifying what data applies to which area. So the table, and that makes it a bit harder to read. The table at the bottom provides receivable status for each customer from the current through 120 days, with a little space between it and the table above. And then below it, we have the sales rep ID name below this receivable status for that customer. In the EnForm version, again, same situation with the report title. We have the same general layout. Again, this time we have the bill to information that is presented at the top for easier identification for the reader. We have the address information, which is vertically spaced so as to provide more efficient use of the white space. Next to it, at the right, the customer ID, statement date, and sales representative, all consolidated in one area here. This is all related to this particular report. Now, below this area, we have the transaction table consisting of the information related to the client's history of orders and associated dollar amounts sorted by date. The general format of the standard version is followed, with headers separated this time by vertical lines. Charges and credits are presented as well on the right side as per the original version, with again, different credits and debits, whether they're positive or negative, presented in that column. We have also added the applied column here in this report, which is not present in the original version, to provide a simple indicator, yes, Y for yes, N for no, whenever a credit memo has been applied to a customer's account. So that provides the status, essentially, of that particular transaction. And below the transaction table, again, we have the receivable status table with the enhanced highlighting of the headers to make it a little bit more obvious to the reader. Okay. Moving on to aged receivables. Again, the report format with additional information, making it a little bit crowded up there. And with the as of date and the page number, the sorting criteria underneath the report title. The currency is also indicated below it. So the tabular format provides a sequence of receivables information for each client sorted by date. And there's no highlighting of the customer title line apart from the line at the top. So all of these lines here are all left with the box, but not necessarily standing out, that identifying the start of a new section for that particular report. On the EnForm version, we have the usual report title at the top, and we have the text in the middle of the top of the page, which has been removed, making it a little bit clearer to read and provide a less cluttered look to the report. Then we have for each customer providing a highlighted line which delineates one customer's status and aged receivable status from the next, all sorted by date again here as well. So it's basically a lot more format changes in this particular appearance format changes that are the main highlight of this particular EnForm report. If we look at the quote report now, looking at the standard version, we have the quote number at the top of the page, and we have the usual two boxes at the top that use up a fair amount of space. The quote number appears, as I said earlier, at the top left, but the quote to text box also uses up that text as that amount of space in terms of what should be located in a proper, more readable report. So the right side of the text box has kind of a date, reference and salesperson indication, information that could be easily consolidated within a smaller space of that area of the page. There's no comments box in this report, and below it, the item information table headers exceed the page width in text wrapping around the page. So this results in two headers, description and drawing, being on the line below the other headers. So now these additional lines make it a little bit harder to line everything up in terms of what is the data underneath which header. And moreover, these additional lines for table headers, namely quantity and unit price, repeat the information in previous headers. So this occurs for all item information lines. Wasted space in the report requiring a second page for the overall total amount, taxes and miscellaneous charges. So this is the first page of the quote report example that we have here. Now on to the EnForm version. There's only one page for this particular report. First comment on this one is that, there's still room to spare as well for further item lines to be added to this particular report. So there's a more efficient use of space in this particular layout here. Again, on the right side, we have the quote information provided in a concise tabular format. We have quote number, date, expiration date. All of these data are put into this section because they're all related to the quotation, making it easier to notice and extract information from that particular report. Below this information, again, we have our usual comments box, which can provide additional information for the user to add in and extract if you're a consumer of that particular report. The lower half of the form provides all the necessary quote information, the quote, part number, description, and so forth, all in a clearly highlighted line of headers, and the drawing and rev information as well, if applicable, unit price, and the total price. So again, separated by columns, each of these items clearly readable as to its location within the table. At the bottom right, the total order amounts are provided in a separate box for viewing. So here, if we go to the second page of the quote, I'm still on page 1 here, right? Because there's only one page for the EnForm version. We simply have all of the billing information on the quote added as the second page. So the different taxes, the different aspects of miscellaneous charges and so forth are added here on the second page. Nothing to be said about the EnForm, as it's the same page I just described earlier. Okay, now looking at the job traveler report, overall, there's no clear delineation in the report of the information between the top portion, which is a description of the item, and their associated data, stock, order, dates. The information is more dispersed in no clear order. Below are the individual lines comprising the raw material information and the operations data immediately below it. Again, there's little blank space between each line. Overall, the information density is high here with no really clear delineation between the separate lines. And associated with each line below it, the individual lines, is additional text comprising operations text, such as that date and time. Now looking at the job traveler report, below the usual enhanced report title name is an overall revamped layout that allows portrait viewing instead of landscape format. Top right, current and due dates are in the header. The item description below that's completely rearranged allows for a more readable section. So this is all this section here. We've laid it out, and the dates are also laid out in a centered format so that it can be identified between, the different dates can be added, reviewed between the start date, the due date, and the required by date. And the item information below that is completely rearranged. As I said, we have different lines here in terms of what the due dates and current dates are in the header. The item information below that is completely rearranged. The job order information is clearly highlighted, and the various dates, start, due, required are centered in this section, as I said before. The remaining details of assembly, drawing, and status complete this part of the report. I'm still in this section here. For the materials section, which is a slightly different item than the successive lines, we've decided to put it in a darker line, basically describing what the information is in regards to materials with respect to how operations will use that particular material in completing the item. The operations lines, we use a full line width, later highlight in the information, but distinctly separate lines to show the sequence of events in the operational side. Here you have shear, notch, form, and deburr, for example. So this provides a bit more of an insight into which sequence of events will occur, and providing information such as the number of run quantities and the current status of that particular operational activity. Again, the information is more consolidated. We have a clear view of the sequence of materials used and operational events that will take place for this particular job traveler. So this concludes the review, comparison, side-by-side comparison of the Epicor and the EnForm reports. Next, we would like to talk about the report bundles themselves. What do we offer here in terms of possibilities? We define two bundles that are available, can be bought as a single pack of 4. The first one we call the basic bundle. It's called the sales order, packing slip, invoice, and the purchase order. And the second one is the advanced bundle, which consists of quote, aged receivables, customer statement, and job traveler. So these are the essentially the bundles that are predefined. You can buy in a package as one option, or as a separate option, you can build your own bundle. And your 4 reports of the 8 available. So it's kind of a mix and match situation. Or alternatively, you can just decide to buy them on a single basis. So you don't need to buy all 4 of a bundle. You could buy more than a bundle, but not the second bundle, etc. So this is a total flexibility in terms of what you can select for your reporting needs. Look at the pricing information. At the moment, we've, to stimulate your interest, we've got a 50% off our regular price. For the basic bundle, we're looking at a $1,500 price range. And the advanced bundle is the $1,750 fee. If you decide to go with an individual report selection, you can buy each basic bundle report for $500. Or if you select reports in the advanced bundle, they're $600 each. Now, installation and training fee is offered. It's 1 hour at our time and materials rate for installation in your particular environment. And we have an annual maintenance fee, 20% of the purchase price. This annual maintenance fee is in order for you to be able to migrate, validate that your installed report base is still functioning in a new Epicor version. For example, going from 10 to Kinetic. So this is what is included in the pricing. Terms and conditions. We have the software cost for including the annual maintenance fee is billed upon signing, and the annual maintenance fee is then billed annually thereafter. So if you purchase the set of reports before September 1st, your maintenance fee will be prorated until the balance of the year. And if you pay after September 1st, it will be prorated for the balance of the year and the subsequent full year of an annual maintenance cost. And every subsequent year, basically annual maintenance invoices will be at the beginning of every calendar year to facilitate our bookkeeping and so forth. So what do we include in the report bundle that you will purchase? Well, your company's logo will be installed as part of the installation fee. Once installed in the current version, if you need request changes, there will be potentially estimated and on a times and material basis, but be aware that if you make changes to these reports, you will then be outside the scope of the regular baseline number of reports. So we have to be very careful as to making a decision in that area. And once a year, they possibly could be updated with approved changes, but we're not sure that we'll be able to do that if you have deviated from the selected element of the selected bundle of reports. Finally, are there any questions in this particular matter at this time? Ashley, please.
Yep, just a friendly reminder, if you do have any questions, please be sure to type those in the question box.
Anything else?
It looks like we've covered all of our questions. Renee or Jesus, was there anything else that you wanted to include before we go today?
At the moment, no, nothing in particular. I invite people to contact us here with the information we've provided, either Encompass Solutions directly. I guess, Ashley, you'll be the focal point for that.
Sure.
Or for me, for Delata Consultants. So you can send an email, contact us for further information, and we'd be glad to answer any additional questions or queries you may have at that time.
Great. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see everyone next time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you all.